Welcome to the 4-Point Play. Today we're going to start with Victor Wembanyama's projection throughout his career. So currently he's averaging 21.1 points a game, 10.6 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 3.5 blocks, 1.3 steals. So 21, 11, 4, 4, 1. Pretty crazy stats for a rookie. 46% field goal percentage, 32% three-point. In just 29 minutes a game, he's averaging these stats. 29 is not even close to the top 50 currently in minutes per game. He's 7'4", 7'5". Some people say one, some people say the other. About 210 pounds. So, assuming the scoring stays constant by, and I'm saying this, age 26 for Victor Wembanyama, start of his prime, which will be in 2030. Assuming the scoring stays constant, I'm assuming he's going to average 31 points a game, 17 rebounds, 8 assists, 7 blocks, and 2 steals. So I'm projecting that he'd average the most rebounds a game since Rodman in 93, which at that point will be almost 40 years ago, and the most blocks per game ever. Currently, the most blocks in a game across a season is Mark Eaton, 5.56. I think he'll shoot probably 60% from the field. His three-pointers are already getting better. He shot 40% in certain months this year. I think he'll get up to 38%, and he'll probably play 36 minutes a game. He might grow another inch by then. I think he'll put on maybe 25 pounds, so he'll be about 235. And I'm banking he's going to have an 16 to 18 year career, maybe miss 1 or 2 seasons from injury. 5 MVPs, somewhere between 4 and 6, 9 depoys, somewhere between 8 and 10, and 4 rings, somewhere between 3 and 5. Because there's not a lot of repeat champions nowadays without, unless you have a super team that you form, which people might want to play with him. So I think he's going to be in the GOAT discussion. The offensive impact is going to be incredible. He'll be known as the best defensive player to ever play. He'll dominate the 2020s and 2030s. 1 to 2 titles with the Spurs, 2 to 3 with another franchise. Several quadruple doubles, and he might have a quintuple double. A lot of information there. You guys feel free to pick away or add.
Yeah, a lot of statistics there, a lot of high projections.
Yep.
I think he's gonna have a great career as well, but I'm not going to go to that extent into the GOAT discussion.
Okay.
When I view him, I go more into like that next kind of tier, like the
Olajuwon
the
tier.
like. And I don't think his career will be as long. Like I don't think an 18-year career for someone of that stature is like really realistic. I'll give him like kind of like a 14-time All-Star, a multi-time depoy, 4 or 5 times probably.
4 or 5 only?
Sometimes like
you don't think he's gonna have more than Rudy Gobert?
I mean, they like to spread the award around. You know how it is, and then
I don't know if he'll be spreading it much.
I'll say like a 2-time champion, because the team you have also factors in for that. So a 2-time champion's still great, and then I'll give him, I think 17 rebounds at that height is realistic.
He's already averaging 11, and he's a twig, and he's. At the beginning of the season, he started slow.
The one thing, too, is I don't know how much weight he can put on. Like, at that height.
25 pounds in 6 years?
To be
doable.
mobile and, like, as agile as he is with, like, a lot of extra weight, I don't know if he can that can all translate.
But 25 pounds of 7'4" is nothing.
So, I mean, in short, I think he's going to have a Hall of Fame career, no doubt, but I don't know about the GOAT discussion. I think he's going to be in the next tier.
All right. I like that take. That's fair.
Yeah, I was going to say, I do kind of like the take you're putting out there when it comes to the depoys. I think that's the one thing where it's kind of like for sure I think he will definitely be winning it. I mean, at this point, the team sucks. Like
he's second right now.
That's what I'm saying. At this point, like there's people that are, courting him out there to be the guy, and like the Spurs are trash this year. I mean, they're putting up like 20 wins this year, and on top of it, he's just playing great in limited minutes. So I think that for sure 8 or 9, like if Rudy Gobert's got 4 or 5, like 8 or 9 for Wembanyama is not like a stretch to me to say that someone who could average 5 blocks a game or more. Like I think that's realistic for him to get 8 or 9 potentially, depending on what the rest of the league's looking like. The big thing for me though is like Mike was saying, I don't know if he's gonna have that like length of career, and you never know too when it comes to like how the Spurs are gonna fill out that roster, if he's gonna leave at one point, because like especially nowadays when it comes to like these contracts, it's tough for guys to leave because you can make so much more money if you stick with your franchise. You can get that supermax extension. You can just keep making that money, and it's like there's no point of leaving kind of at a certain point where it's like, all right, I can make like Luka when he could sign that contract for $80 million. He's going to do that with the Mavs instead of walking to go somewhere else. So it's like you're kind of stuck with the Spurs. Good thing they have a well-run organization, but I mean, for me, it's just tough because like with his build, like I mean, if he stays healthy, I'd be really impressed for his whole career. It's just like we have never seen someone with a build like that stay healthy and not sustain a major injury.
We've never seen someone with a build like that. Period.
Or just period above 7'2". Like we've never seen someone stay healthy for an entire career. Like I mean, Kristaps, another example, 6 foot, they're 7'3", 7'4", I think, tore his ACL. Like I mean, it's so tough when you get to those heights where it's like you're just a freak of nature to stay healthy. Like it's just kind of like, but I mean, I'm rooting for him to stay healthy. Obviously, I'd prefer that because obviously, if he's a player with great potential, like you don't want to have that what if, right? Where it's like, oh, what if he could have been this amazing player? But I think he could average 15 boards probably, points. We'll see what they add for second. We'll see what they add up for other options on the team. But I think that it's realistic to say, he could be close to a 10-time Defensive Player of the Year winner. I think that he could definitely win a couple MVPs. 5 championships, 4 championships, 5 MVPs. I don't know if that, like, I'm going that high, just because, like, there's a lot of other guys.
Between 4 and 6 MVPs, I think he'll get later on. I mean, we don't know the prospects that he'll be fighting with, but if he starts winning at a certain point, that's going to help.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be tough to see. I mean, he's having one of the best rookie years ever for sure, but we're gonna have to see how things unfold. Basically, I'm not willing to go like that far yet. The deep boys, he'll definitely have the most of all time when he retires if he stays healthy. That's for sure. He'll definitely have at least 5 or 6 if he stays healthy at the minimum. But yeah, that's what I kind of got to say about that.
I pretty much agree with all that. I mean, a lot of this comes down to the team around him. Like Defensive Player of the Year's award, that's really only valid if you're on a great defensive team. Like when Rudy Gobert won it with the Jazz, they were always a great defensive team. When Draymond and Kawhi won it, they were on great defensive teams. So it's hard for me to picture the Spurs as a great team right now, but they can definitely get there.
Yeah.
And then as far as MVPs, there's no reason for him to not win several MVPs.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what you're saying about the defense, I completely agree. I don't think like Wemby deserves to win it this year by any stretch because their defense is horrible. But in the rankings, he's second at the moment. And that's with the worst defense versus this guy who's renowned as an all-time great defender on the best defense. And there's no one in between them.
Yeah.
So Wemby goes up
at Wemby, because he is an excellent defender. It's not his fault that they're not a bad defense.
I think the Spurs know that every day after this season ends, this is a trial season. I think after this season, every day that goes by, like you got to be working for this guy. Mm-hmm. Like he is your like entire world at this point.
One thing to point out too is that I know we were talking about the Spurs being a trash defensive team, but like when he's on the floor, I'm pretty sure I saw a statistic where it's like when he plays, like they're 29th when he's not on the floor, but like when he's on the floor, apparently they're like top 5 in defense. So that's something to point out as well, where it's like, obviously when
the on-off numbers.
Basically when he goes to the bench, it's like they're trash because you put Zach Collins out there who's just like, he could score some buckets maybe, but he's not anything on defense. So, it's good to point out that I think that he could definitely, he's in there. I think he should deservedly be in the running, but I think that, I'd give it to Rudy Gobert this year. But next year, forget about it. I think he'll win a few.
One other quick thing to add that I think you'll like, I don't think you mentioned this, I think he can win a scoring title.
Maybe.
Because from the few games I've seen this year and the highlights, obviously, his offensive game and the package as a whole is very diverse. Mm-hmm. Like he can score in a lot of ways, and as the league has a lot of great centers now, but I still don't think any of them could stop him. He's just too tall. You can't block his shot. And if he can shoot threes at near 40%, there's no reason for him to not average in his prime 30 points a game or a little more than that, and then in any given year he could win the scoring title. Especially if they get better as a team, it'll be even easier for him to score. Yeah,
I predicted 31 in his prime. If he wins a scoring title and he's the best defensive player ever, I don't know how he isn't going to be a top 10 player at that point, because
he plays long
that's
enough,
insane.
Yeah.
One last thing I got to bring up about that, though, when it comes to like him scoring a lot of points, I think it's actually realistic he does as well. Because when you watch him play defense, it looks like effortless. It's not like it's like LeBron where it's like you're like a 6'9" wing and you really have to like get in front of your guy, guard him one-on-one, and make sure that he's not like, doing anything on you. This guy, it's just like he's so big that it's like he just sticks a hand up and he'll block a shot, and it's not like he really exerts much like stamina when he's doing it. It's not like he's getting up in someone's grill necessarily. He just kind of has to stand there and stick his hands up because you can't shoot over him.
Yeah.
So with me, it's kind of like I think that if he's not exerting much effort on that side of the floor, but he's still just naturally the best because of his genetics, I mean, for sure, you can put in more effort on the other side of the floor and be great and improve your reads when it comes to passing the ball, shooting the ball. That's all the kind of stuff that you can be developed as a player when you have the kind of potential that he does.
Yeah. I mean, especially like what you're saying with how easy it is for him to block. Right now he's averaging 3.5. The most ever in a season is 5.5. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, if he just hones in he's a little awkward and like flails a lot. Doesn't have great control of his body. Better than, I mean, it's pretty good for his height, but especially if he gets a little stronger, like, and he hones in how to block, like, he could easily have 6 or 7 a game. And I mean, he's had months where he's had like 7 a game already.
And one reason why I went a little bit lower on like some of the awards too is that now they have like the strict 65 game limit for awards, and I think like you already see like he's getting injury management before he even like started playing, like in the summer league as a rookie, where like usually most guys like you don't play on like a minutes restriction or like a game restriction at that age.
Yeah.
And as you get older, it doesn't really get any easier to stay in the courts. I don't know how many years he's going to play like 65, and that's why I took that into account for like the lower amount of like MVP and DPOY awards.
That's a very, very good point. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he hasn't had an injury yet, really. I mean, he had like he like landed on some ball early in the season and missed like a couple games, but like nothing legitimate. I predicted that I said 16 to 18 year career and 1 to 2 missed seasons I mean, at some point he'll have something, but I don't know how many games let me see how many games he's played this season.
He's probably missed like 4 or 5, maybe, right? If I had to guess,
he's played 68.
So 4.
So he's already met the award criteria.
But yeah, no, he's played the games.
So there's a chance. I understand all the worry and caution around him being 7'5" and wanting to make sure that he's on a minutes restriction and like nothing happens. I think he's just built a little different. I mean, I've said this analogy to you guys before. Guys like Chet Holmgren are built like a Nature Valley bar, and Chet's built like a Cliff Bar. He's got a little more elasticity to his build. So I don't know. He'll probably have a couple injuries just because, I mean, the tension and like leverage that his joints are going to have on them is immense at that height. But
I hope he can stay healthy. I'll tell you that.
That'd be awesome. I mean, do you guys think he'll have a quintuple double?
A quintuple double, no, but a quadruple double, yeah, for sure. I mean, he almost got one this year, so 100%.
Yeah, he almost had one the other day, and I think he might get one. The steals is the hard one, but there's always a chance, especially if hit with his hands in the lane. Mm-hmm. But that and 10 blocks
it's pretty ridiculous.
That's insane.
You need overtime for that.
All right. Thank you for watching the 4-Point Play, and definitely go check out some of our other content.
Like and subscribe.